Ally Johnson woke up feeling excited. Today was the most important day of her career. After 6 months of hard work, her was finally closing the biggest deal her company had ever seen, $25 million. Ally was 30 years old and worked as a sales manager at Apex Industries. Her boss, Mr. Vincent Gray, had promised her a huge promotion if she landed this deal with the Chinese manufacturing company. "This will change everything," Ally told her boyfriend Jeffrey at breakfast. "After today, we can finally get married and buy that house." Jeffrey smiled and kissed her. "I'm so proud of you. Go make it happen." Ally drove to the office, rehearsing his presentation one last time. She had no idea that her life was about to fall apart. The meeting started at 10 o'clock. The Chinese clients, led by Mr. Chen, sat across the large conference table. Mr. Gray sat at the head of the table, smiling confidently. Ally presented the deal. She had spent months building relationships with the Chinese company. She learned about their culture. She studied their needs. She created the perfect proposal. For 2 hours, Ally answered questions and negotiated terms. Finally, Mr. Chen nodded. "We accept your proposal, Mr. Johnson. $25 million. This partnership will benefit both our companies greatly." Everyone shook hands. Mr. Gray tapped Ally on the back. "Brilliant work, Marcus. Absolutely brilliant," Mr. Gray said loudly. Ally felt like he was floating. This was the moment she had dreamed about. Her hard work had finally paid off. But she didn't see the cold look in Mr. Gray's eyes. That evening, the office threw a celebration party. Everyone congratulated Ally. Her coworkers were jealous but impressed. $25 million. That's incredible, said her friend Ella from accounting. Mr. Gray gave a speech. "Ally Johnson has brought this company the biggest deal in our history. Let's raise our glasses to Ally." Everyone cheered. Ally felt embarrassed but happy. She called Jeffrey to share the good news. "I knew you could do it," he said excitedly. "When are you getting your promotion?" "Mr. Gray will probably announce it tomorrow," Ally replied. She went home that night feeling like her life was perfect. She had no idea that Mr. Gray was in his office, making phone calls and planning something terrible. Ally arrived at work early the next morning. She wanted to thank Mr. Gray personally and discuss her promotion. But when she walked into the office, security guards were waiting at her desk. "Miss Johnson, please come with us," one guard said. "What's going on?" Ally asked, confused. They took her to Mr. Gray's office. Her boss sat behind her desk with a cold expression. "Ally, I'm afraid I have to let you go," Mr. Gray said simply. Ally thought she heard wrong. "What, is this a joke?" "No joke. You're fired, effective immediately." But I just closed a $25 million deal yesterday," Ally stammered. "Yes, and the company thanks you. But we're restructuring, and your position has been eliminated," Mr. Gray said, not even looking Ally in the eyes. Ally felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. "This doesn't make sense. You promised me a promotion." "I promised nothing in writing. Now please collect your personal items and leave. Security will escort you out." Ally sat at his desk in shock. Her coworkers whispered and stared. Everyone had been celebrating her last night. Now she was being thrown out like garbage. "You have 15 minutes, the security guard said. With shaking hands, Ally packed her family photos, her coffee mug, and a few personal items into a cardboard box. People she thought were friends looked away as she walked past. Only Ella came over. "Ally, this is crazy. What happened?" "I don't know," Ally whispered. "I don't understand." The security guards walked her through the lobby. Other employees watched. Ally had never felt so humiliated in her entire life. Outside, it started to rain. Ally stood on the sidewalk holding her box, getting soaked. Her phone rang. It was Jeffrey. "How did the promotion meeting go?" he asked cheerfully. Ally couldn't speak. She just started crying. For 2 weeks, Ally stayed in her apartment, barely eating or sleeping. Jeffrey tried to help, but he didn't understand what she was going through. "Just find another job," he said. You're talented, someone will hire you. But it wasn't that simple. Ally had given everything to Apex Industries. She had worked nights and weekends. She had sacrificed time with friends and family, and they had thrown her away the day after her biggest success. The betrayal hurt worse than anything Ally had ever experienced. Every night, she dreamed about confronting Mr. Gray and demanding answers. She tried to file complaints with Human Resources and the Labor Board, but her contract said she could be fired at any time for any reason. It was legal, even if it was cruel and unfair. Ally started to realize that Mr. Gray had planned this all along. One day, Ella came to visit Ally. She looked nervous. Ally, I need to tell you something. You're not going to like it. Ella explained that after Ally was fired, Mr. Gray had hired his own nephew, Derek Gray, to be the new sales manager. Derek had just graduated from college and had no experience. But here's the worst part, Ella said quietly. Derek is taking credit for your deal. Mr. Gray is telling everyone that Derek closed the $25 million deal, not you. Ally felt rage boil inside her. That's impossible. I did all the work. I have months of emails and documents proving it. I know, Ella said. But Mr. Gray is rewriting history. He's telling the Chinese clients that Derek was the lead negotiator and you were just an assistant. And since Derek is family, they're going along with it. Ally wanted to scream. Not only had Mr. Gray fired him, but now he was stealing credit for Ally's work. There's more, Ella added. I overheard Mr. Gray talking on the phone. He fired you because he didn't want to pay you the commission you earned. $25 million means you should get at least $500,000 in commission. He gave it to Derek instead. The news destroyed Ally. She fell into deep depression. She stopped showering. She stopped looking for jobs. She just sat in his dark apartment thinking about revenge. Jeffrey tried to be supportive, but after a month, he had enough. Ally, I can't do this anymore, he said, packing his clothes. You need to move on. You're not the woman I fell in love with. He stole everything from me, Ally said quietly. My job, my reputation, my money. I know it's not fair, but life isn't fair, Jeffrey said, frustrated. You can't just sit here feeling sorry for yourself forever. So you're leaving me too, Ally asked. I'm sorry, Jeffrey said, tears in his eyes. I love you, but I can't watch you destroy yourself. Goodbye, Ally. He walked out. Ally sat alone in the empty apartment. She had lost his job, her money, her reputation, and now her boyfriend. All because of Vincent Gray. Ally hit rock bottom. She couldn't pay rent and had to move into a tiny room in a cheap motel. She sold her car to buy food. She had no money, no job prospects, and no hope. One night, she sat on the motel bed with a bottle of pills in her hand. It would be so easy to end the pain. But then his phone rang. It was her mother. Ally, honey, I haven't heard from you in weeks. Are you okay? Hearing her mother's voice broke something inside Ally. She started sobbing and told her everything. Mom, I don't know what to do. He destroyed me. Her mother was quiet for a moment. Then she said something Ally would never forget. Ally, when your father died, the factory owner tried to cheat our family out of his life insurance. Everyone told me to give up, but I didn't. I fought for 2 years and I won. Sometimes, baby, you have to fight for justice. Don't let bad people win. After the call ended, Ally looked at the pills in her hand. Then she threw them in the trash. If her mother could fight, so could she. Ally started investigating Vincent Gray. She went to the library and used public computers to search for information. Couldn't afford her own internet anymore. She discovered interesting things. Vincent Gray came from a wealthy family but had a history of business problems. His first company went bankrupt because he made bad decisions. His second company was sued multiple times for treating employees poorly. Apex Industries was his third try at success, and he was succeeding by stealing other people's work. Ally found an online forum where former Apex employees shared stories. Many complained about Vincent Gray. Some said he had stolen their ideas and fired them. Others said he was corrupt and cruel. One name kept appearing, Sandra Mills. She had been fired from Apex Industries 3 years ago under suspicious circumstances. Ally found her contact information and sent her a message. "I need to talk to you about Vincent Gray." Sandra replied within an hour. "Meet me tomorrow. I have a lot to tell you." Sandra Mills met Ally at a small cafe. She was in her 40s with tired eyes. "So Vincent destroyed you too," she said sadly. Sandra explained that she had been the company's head of product development. She created a revolutionary new product design that could have made millions. "Vincent fired me the day before the patent application was filed. Then he filed the patent in his own name. I tried to sue, but he had expensive lawyers. I lost everything: my savings, my career, my reputation." "Why would he do that?" Ally asked. "Because Vincent Gray is a narcissist," Sandra explained. "He can't stand when other people succeed. He only keeps employees who are mediocre and loyal. Anyone talented becomes a threat. So he uses them, then destroys them and takes credit for their work." Ally felt sick. "How many people has he done this to?" "I know of at least 8 people, including you and me," Sandra said. "Probably more." She pulled out a folder. "I've been collecting evidence for years. I couldn't fight him alone, but maybe together we can do something." Ally looked through the documents: emails, contracts, testimony from other victims. It was all there. "Why didn't you do anything with this before?" Ally asked. Sandra looked down. "Because I was scared. Vincent has powerful friends, lawyers, judges, even some corrupt police. One person who tried to expose him had their house broken into. Another lost custody of their children in a mysterious court case. Vincent destroys anyone who threatens him." "Then we need more than just evidence," Ally said. "We need a plan." Ally and Sandra contacted the other victims. Slowly, they built a team of 8 people who had been betrayed by Vincent Gray. There was James, who had been fired after landing a major client. There was Patricia, who lost her job after creating a successful marketing campaign. There was David, who was fired after inventing a new manufacturing process. All of them had the same story: they did excellent work, and then Vincent fired them and took credit. They met in Sandra's basement every week, planning their revenge, but they disagreed about how to proceed. "We should go to the media," Patricia suggested. "The media won't care without proof," James argued. "We should sue him," David said. "He'll just crush us with his lawyers like he did to me," Sandra replied. Ally had been quiet, thinking. Finally, she spoke. "We need to make Vincent confess. We need him to admit what he did, on recording, where he can't deny it." "How do we do that?" Patricia asked. Ally smiled for the first time in months. "I have an idea, but it's risky." Ally's plan was simple but dangerous. They would lure Vincent Gray into a situation where he would brag about his crimes, not knowing he was being recorded. Ally still had contacts with the Chinese company from his big deal. She reached out to Mr. Chen and explained that she had important information about Vincent Gray that Mr. Chen should know before their partnership went too far. Mr. Chen was suspicious, but agreed to a secret meeting. Ally told Mr. Chen the truth: that Vincent was corrupt, that he stole employees' work, and that the $25 million deal had been closed by Ally, not Derek. "Why should I believe you?" Mr. Chen asked. "Because Vincent will do the same thing to your company eventually," Ally explained. "He's a fraud, and I can prove it, but I need your help." After thinking for a long time, Mr. Chen agreed. He would help set the trap. Mr. Chen called Vincent Gray and requested an urgent meeting. He said there was a problem with the deal that needed immediate attention. Vincent agreed to meet at a hotel conference room. He had no idea what was coming. Ally and the team set up hidden cameras and microphones in the room. Then they waited in the next room, watching on a monitor. Vincent arrived, confident and smiling. Mr. Chen greeted him coldly. "Mr. Gray, I've been hearing disturbing rumors," Mr. Chen said. "Some people say that Derek Gray did not actually close our deal. They say it was a woman named Ally Johnson." Vincent's smile faded slightly. "Ally was my assistant on that project, but Derek led the negotiation." That's not what I heard, Mr. Chen pressed. I heard you fired Ally the day after the deal closed and gave her commission to your nephew. Who told you that? Vincent asked, his voice hard. Does it matter? Mr. Chen replied. Is it true? Vincent was trapped. He didn't know if Mr. Chen would cancel the deal over this. His arrogance made him believe he could talk his way out. Look, Mr. Chen, Vincent said, leaning forward. In business, you have to be smart. Yes, Ally did most of the work, but she was an employee. I owned his work. When employees become too successful, they become expensive and demanding. So I fire them and take their achievements. It's just good business. In the next room, Ally's hands clenched into fists. The camera was recording everything. You do this often? Mr. Chen asked, pretending to be interested. All the time, Vincent bragged. I've built my company's success by hearing talented people, letting them create something valuable, then firing them before I have to pay them properly. I keep their work and give credit to people who are loyal to me, usually family members. It's brilliant, actually. But isn't that wrong? Mr. Chen asked. Vincent laughed. Wrong, it's legal. I make sure my contracts protect me. These people are stupid for working so hard without protecting themselves. They deserve what they get. Mr. Chen's face remained neutral. And you feel no guilt. Guilt is for weak people, Vincent said. I'm a winner. Winners take what they want. Mr. Chen stood up. Thank you for your honesty, Mr. Gray. He walked to the wall and pulled down a curtain. Behind it was a large window. On the other side stood Ally and all the other victims, watching. Vincent's face went white. The door opened, and Ally walked in, holding a tablet showing the recorded confession. Hello, Vincent, Ally said quietly. Vincent jumped up. This is illegal. You can't record me without my permission. Actually, Sandra said, walking in, Mr. Chen gave us permission to record in his conference room, and you just confessed to fraud, theft, and systematic employee abuse. Vincent looked panicked. He tried to grab the tablet, but James blocked him. Get out of my way, Vincent shouted. I'll sue all of you. I'll destroy you. You already tried to destroy us, Patricia said calmly. Now it's our turn. The team uploaded Vincent's confession to the internet. It went viral within hours. News stations picked up the story. Social media exploded with anger about Vincent's cruel business practices. Vincent tried to deny everything, but the video was clear. He had confessed to everything on camera. More victims came forward, people Ally's team didn't even know about. Vincent had hurt dozens of people over the years. Apex Industries' stock price crashed. Investors were furious. The board of directors called an emergency meeting. Vincent hired expensive lawyers and tried to fight back. He claimed the video was edited or taken out of context, but forensic experts confirmed the video was authentic. Companies canceled their contracts with Apex Industries. Employees started quitting. The Chinese company pulled out of their $25 million deal. Vincent's empire was crumbling, and he was losing control. The police and federal investigators got involved. They examined Vincent's business practices and found evidence of fraud, tax evasion, and employee rights violations. Vincent's lawyers tried to make deals, but there was too much evidence against him. The confession video had been the key that opened everything up. Ally was called to testify before investigators. She told them everything about the deal her closed, about being fired the next day, about Vincent's pattern of abusing employees. Other victims testified too. Sandra, James, Patricia, David, and many others told their stories. The investigators were shocked by how systematic Vincent's crimes had been. This man ran his business like a criminal operation, one investigator said. He's destroyed dozens of lives. Vincent was arrested at his mansion. Cameras caught him being led away in handcuffs, shouting about how unfair it all was. Ally watched the news coverage from her tiny motel room. For the first time in months, she felt something like peace. Vincent Gray's trial lasted 6 weeks. The prosecution presented mountains of evidence: the confession video, financial records, testimony from victims, emails proving Vincent's schemes. Vincent's lawyers argued he was just a tough businessman making legal decisions, but the jury didn't buy it. Ally sat in the courtroom every day. She watched Vincent squirm as victim after victim described how he had destroyed their careers and lives. When it was Ally's turn to testify, she spoke clearly and calmly. Vincent Gray didn't just fire me. He stole 6 months of my work. He stole my reputation. He stole my future. And he did it the day after I made his company $25 million. Not because I did bad work, but because I did such good work that I deserved to be properly rewarded. He couldn't stand that. The courtroom was silent. Even Vincent's lawyers had no questions. After 3 days of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict. On all counts of fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On all counts of theft of intellectual property, we find the defendant guilty. On all counts of conspiracy, we find the defendant guilty. The courtroom erupted in applause. The judge had to call for order. Vincent's face turned red with rage. He started shouting about how stupid everyone was, how he didn't deserve this. Security had to restrain him. The judge sentenced Vincent to 12 years in prison and ordered him to pay millions in restitution to his victims. Apex Industries went bankrupt. The board of directors had to sell the company's assets to pay settlements. Ally and the other victims would each receive compensation, not everything they lost, but something. Ally would finally get her commission from the $25 million deal. $500,000, just as she had earned. Vincent's nephew, Derek, also faced consequences. An investigation revealed he had knowingly participated in his uncle's schemes. Derek lost his job and had to return all the money he'd received from Marcus's deal. He was banned from working in the industry. Derek called Ally, crying and begging for forgiveness. "I'm sorry," Derek sobbed. "My uncle told me it was normal business practice. I didn't know he was destroying people's lives." Ally hung up without responding. She had no sympathy for Derek. Anyone who took credit for someone else's work deserved what they got. With his commission money, Ally moved out of the motel. She rented a nice apartment and bought new clothes. She went to a therapist to deal with her trauma. Slowly, she started to feel human again. The publicity from Vincent's case had made Ally semi-famous. Other companies reached out to her with job offers. They admired how she had fought for justice. Ally accepted a position at a rival company with a much better salary and a contract that protected his rights. She made sure to read every word of the contract this time. Sandra started a consulting business, helping employees protect their intellectual property. James became a workers' rights advocate. Patricia wrote a book about their experience. The team stayed in touch, bonded by their shared trauma and victory. 6 months after Vincent's trial ended, Ally got a phone call. It was Jeffrey. "Hi, Ally," he said nervously. "I saw the news about everything that happened. I wanted to say, I'm sorry I left you when you needed me." Aled didn't know how to respond. Part of him still loved him, but another part remembered how he abandoned her at her lowest point. "I was going through hell, and you walked away," Ally said quietly. "I know," Jeffrey said, crying. "I was scared and selfish. I should have stayed and fought with you. Can you forgive me?" Ally thought about it for a long time. Finally, he said, "I forgive you, Jeffrey, but I can't get back together with you. Too much has happened. I'm not the same person anymore." Jeffrey accepted this. They talked for a while, finding closure. Then they said goodbye for the final time. Ally felt sad, but also relieved. She had finally let go of her old life completely. A famous documentary filmmaker wanted to tell Ally's story. After thinking carefully, Ally agreed, but only if all the victims could participate and share their experiences. The documentary, called The $25 Million Betrayal, became a huge hit. It exposed toxic workplace culture and inspired new laws protecting employees' rights and intellectual property. Ally became an advocate for workers' rights. She gave speeches at universities and conferences. She helped other people who were being exploited by their employers. "What happened to me was terrible," Ally would say. "But I learned something important. You can't let bad people defeat you. Even when you lose everything, if you keep fighting for the truth, justice can eventually win." Young people found her story inspiring. Ally received thousands of messages from people thanking her for giving them courage. Her life had new purpose and meaning. 3 years after being fired, Ally went back to Apex Industries, or what was left of it. The building was being demolished to make room for a new development. She stood in the empty parking lot where she had been fired that horrible morning. Rain fell gently, just like it had that day. But Ally wasn't the same broken woman anymore. She had fought back against injustice. She had exposed a corrupt businessman. She had helped create new laws protecting workers. Vincent Gray was in prison, where he would stay for many more years. Her reputation was destroyed forever. History would remember him as a fraud and a bully. Ally had gotten her revenge not through violence or cruelty, but through truth and justice. Her phone rang. It was Sandra. "Hey, Ally. Just wanted to check on you. I know today is the anniversary of when Vincent fired you." "I'm okay," Ally said, smiling. "Actually, I'm better than okay. I'm free." "We all are," Sandra replied. "Because of you." "Because of us," Ally corrected. "We did it together." After the call, Ally walked back to her car. The sun broke through the clouds, creating a beautiful rainbow across the sky. Ally had lost everything 3 years ago: her job, her money, her boyfriend, her dignity. But she had gained something more valuable: self-respect, true friends, and the knowledge that she had fought for justice and won. She drove away from the demolished building, leaving her painful past behind. Ahead of her stretched a bright future full of possibility. Vincent Gray had tried to destroy her the morning after Ally made him $25 million. But in the end, Ally had destroyed Vincent's evil empire instead. Justice had finally been served.